you've got two-time Oscar winner Denzel Washington as this complicated central figure, and Oscar winner Bob Zemeckis bringing it to life. Now, I know these things are rarely easy. First of all, how long was the time span between when you first wrote this script to this result?
Not long, like 12 years. So.
Well, now, how did your own experience with, with being an Irish guy who could take a drink, have a pop now and then, influence this whole thing?
I think, I'd have to be honest to say that, this script basically combined my two greatest fears, like drinking myself to death or dying in a plane crash. I'll just put them together. We'll just make a movie about it. Let's make a movie about that. No, I mean, I got sober when I was 25. So when I started writing this script, I think I was 31 or so. And so obviously that was like painting a lot of what was in my mind. It was a new filter, so to speak, with which I was kind of looking at everything in my life,
What about this project kept it on ice for so long?
There was a lot of things. I mean, that was a big part of it that, we were on a panel in New York and Don Cheadle said, these movies don't get made. He said, I don't think Kramer versus Kramer would get made today. And we started talking about the dramas of the 70s and they just became bad pieces of business, quite honestly. And so I had a studio chief say to me, look, I get that, actors want to play this part, but you need to go see this movie. And it wasn't out yet. And she had seen it and she said, you need to go see Michael Clayton. And it came out, and I went out and saw it, and I was like, wow, that's a great movie. And then I told her, I said, that's a great movie. And she's like, yeah, it didn't make any money. And it was one of those things where it's like, those movies kind of struggled, but they turned back. It's like they came back, like their dramas started to do well. In the last few years, there's been some that have really broken through, and audiences, it's been great that they've come out to see those movies. So hopefully the slates can kind of tip back a little bit. Like we need Avengers, but we also need Argo. The other thing too is if you've seen the film, you know that it's not a genre movie. It's like I can't, say this ranks right up there in all the pantheon of great, drunk pilot movies, And even beyond that, the idea of like, movies with addiction at their center, we have a lot of them. I mean, from way back, forward, everyone thinks of the five that we've all kind of seen, but they're not known for the fact that they were great pieces of business for the studio. So I think that they said to me a few times, if you can make this more of a genre movie, if this movie could be more of a thriller or more of a courtroom drama. And the thing always was kind of what it was. It was like it had some spectacle, but it was also a character study, which is not always an easy thing to do.
Start with Denzel and explain to us how things suddenly turned around and this became a movie.
So he immediately kind of connected. His agent who passed away last year, Ed L'Amato, his longtime agent, had given him 2 scripts. And Denzel said to me, look, I'm getting on a plane tomorrow morning to go make a movie called Safe House. He said, when I come back, I'm going to make this movie. I said, okay. But he also, he said, man, the research you did on that plane crash is intense. He was like, I like that. He's like, but that other stuff has got to be personal. And I just kind of nodded. And he was like, this is dangerous material. And then he did that Denzel thing where he kind of looks at you sideways and kind of smiled. And he said, I like it. And I was like...
Well, now, Bob's made movies like Forrest Gump and an incredible plane crash scene in Castaway, Back to the Future. So what do you learn when you're by this guy's side?
Oh, man. It was really fun, actually, because, I had many moments where I was like, yeah, I could have directed this movie. And then I had moments like, I couldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done that. I don't know how to do that. He literally, there's a lot of, there's 400 digital shots in the movie. It's incredible. And it was the motion capture work that he's done in the digital cinema in the last 10 years. He used these young guys to effect these shots for him. So everything down to there's a scene where Nicole looks up and she's ODing on heroin, and it's and you see her eyes go pinwheel and big and pinwheel, and it's they did a digital effect to do that. It was incredible what he did. So, and he's a real attention to detail guy. He would catch things that nobody else would catch. So he's almost ADD in the way he likes things to be, perfect. The cast is so incredible. I mean, Don Cheadle and John Goodman are guys that it's crazy what they did with the material. I mean, it's remarkable because you can write it for 10 years and you can act it out in your mind, or in your bathroom in the mirror. But not that I did that. And, but then to see these people come and kill this performance, it's you know, I don't know. I mean, that's when we were just talking about this, how like movies aren't really born, they like fight their way to life, you know, and this movie fought its way to life. Like it just, that's why it's like, I don't think I had all that much to do with it in some ways. It's like, it was gonna happen, it just was never gonna be on my timeline, and it was never gonna be of my kind of choosing in a way.
What part of the movie are people sparking to most? Because there are a lot of interesting themes here. There are themes of faith, there are themes of owning up to to your responsibility. Give us a sense.
It's interesting because I've had conversations about everything from like Bernoulli's principle of flight, you know, about like how can you fly a plane upside down, and talking about an actual accident where a flight crew did it, and not ultimately successfully, but pretty miraculously. And it was, you know, dealing with a lot of pilots who gave me suggestions and reading NTSB reports in great detail. But, you know, like the faith thing that people want to talk about. And I said, look, you know, I don't know the answer. And that's part of it. I said, part of writing the script over those years was trying to figure out what I think. Most recovery models ask you to think about what you believe in, right? It's like higher power, all those things you kind of hear. And this movie kind of picks at those questions. I mean, I've heard the expression, there's no atheists in a foxhole. It's like, okay. And then I thought, well, I don't think there's any atheists in an airplane at 30,000 feet that's pitching all over the place. I've been on that plane. Everyone gets quiet, they grab their tray table, and they're like, and I'm thinking, what are they thinking? You're thinking what I'm thinking, which is like, oh, God, help me. It's like, is there a God? No time to question that now. Let's just go with there is a God, and let's hope that he's going to put the plane on the ground safely. We'll work it out later. Like, I don't care what you call it. You know, it's like, we'll just get there and we'll sort it out later. But it's also why, like, that scene of the cancer patient, it's like, you know, Kelly Riley, described it on a Q&A we were on. She was like, we're like three people who are close to death for totally different reasons. And we're having this really stark kind of conversation while just smoking a cigarette. And I think that those are the times in my life, like I don't question God on a daily basis, but when I had a friend who got sick with that cancer, and he's a survivor, which is an amazing story, but it was really serious, you know, and it's those moments I think that we have, whether it's a disaster that happens in New York or, you know, tsunamis and things that we can't wrap our heads around at all, and as sophisticated as we are, it's like, since humankind first crawled out of the pond, it's like when we don't understand something, we say, well, it's the God of rain, it's the God of sun, it's the God of something. It's like, I don't know why people get sick. Why do kids die? I don't understand that. I have kids. It's like it's your big fear. So I think that it's one of those things, I like having those conversations with people who say, man, I really connected, you know, I laughed at some of this stuff about like believing in this or not believing. So that's definitely a big piece of the faith thing.